Little House on the Prairie is a reminder of when things were simpler for us in our lives those 45 years ago.
She was the face every American family knew. The innocent smile, the freckled cheeks, the little girl who felt like everyone's daughter. Melissa Gilbert wasn't just a child star, she was a piece of American nostalgia. But behind that gentle face was a storm no one saw coming. From the moment she stepped onto the set of Little House on the Prairie, Melissa captured hearts across the nation. Millions watched her grow up on screen, playing Laura Ingalls, the brave, spirited farm girl who faced every hardship with hope. Yet off-camera, Melissa's real life was far from the picture-perfect Prairie. In Hollywood's golden light, she looked like a dream come true. But under that glow, she was fighting loneliness, insecurity, and a desperate search for love that always seemed to slip away. Even at her peak, there was something fragile about her smile, something that hinted at heartbreak long before the world ever knew her pain. Because for Melissa Gilbert, fame came early, but happiness never came easy. As she entered her teenage years, the pressure of being America's sweetheart began to weigh on her. She didn't just want to act, she wanted to be loved. But in a world built on illusion, finding something real was almost impossible. Her co-stars adored her. Directors praised her. Fans worshipped her. But at home, behind closed doors, she was a young girl trying to hold herself together in a life that already felt too big. And soon, her heart would lead her into a journey filled with passion, betrayal, and heartbreak. The kind of story no script could prepare her for. Because Melissa wasn't just about to fall in love, she was about to fall apart. Melissa Gilbert had always believed in love. Maybe because she grew up on television, where every story ended in a happy family hug. Or maybe because she wanted to fix something inside herself that fame couldn't touch. Her first serious love came in the form of a Hollywood bad boy. His name was Rob Lowe. Young, magnetic, and one of the brightest stars of the 80s. Together, they looked like a dream. Two beautiful faces, two rising careers, one perfect headline. But behind the glossy magazine covers, the truth was far from romantic. Their love burned fast and bright. Too bright. Melissa was deeply in love, the kind that consumes you. But Rob, surrounded by fame and temptation, wasn't ready to settle down. She wanted forever. He wanted freedom. And when their relationship finally fell apart, Melissa was shattered. She later said, "That heartbreak nearly destroyed me." She'd built her identity around that love. And when it vanished, she felt like she'd lost herself. The girl America adored was now standing in front of the mirror, wondering who she really was when the cameras weren't rolling. To escape the pain, Melissa threw herself into work. But no amount of acting could cover the cracks forming inside. Her search for love continued, sometimes hopeful, sometimes desperate. She married actor Bo Brinkman in 1988. For a brief moment, it seemed like happiness had finally arrived. They welcomed a son, Dakota, and for the first time in years, Melissa allowed herself to breathe. But Bo's charm came with chaos. The marriage soon crumbled under the weight of infidelity, alcohol, and emotional turmoil. Melissa found herself once again in the familiar place she feared most, alone. Still, she didn't give up on love. In 1995, she married Bruce Boxleitner, a man she believed was her soulmate. Their story began like a fairy tale. He was mature, grounded, and made her feel safe. For a while, they built a life together, raising their blended family with care and devotion. But even that love had its breaking point. Years later, Melissa would admit that she tried too hard to be perfect. The perfect wife, mother, and woman. And that need for perfection became a silent killer in their marriage. After 16 years, the the couple divorced, leaving Melissa heartbroken once again. Each relationship left her with scars that didn't heal easily, and behind her quiet grace, she carried the weight of disappointment. But what most people didn't know was that Melissa's heartbreak wasn't just about love lost. It was about self-worth. For years, she'd been the woman everyone wanted her to be. Sweet, loyal, forgiving. But in the process, she forgot who she was. And when the world stopped watching, Melissa Gilbert vanished from Hollywood's radar. To the public, it looked like she had simply faded away. But in truth, she was walking into the most transformative chapter of her life. The one where she would finally face herself and start over. When the cameras stopped rolling and the applause faded, Melissa Gilbert was left alone with a silence she didn't recognize. For the first time in her life, there was no script, no director, no applause to drown out the noise inside her head. Hollywood had shaped her, lifted her, and broken her, sometimes all in the same day. After her third marriage fell apart, Melissa reached what she called her breaking point. She struggled with alcohol, anxiety, and the emptiness that fame had never filled. Every time she tried to rebuild, another piece of her past came crashing down. She looked back at her life, the fame, the red carpets, the magazine covers, and realized none of it had made her truly happy. In her memoir, she later confessed, "I had spent my whole life trying to be perfect, but I was exhausted. I didn't even know what real felt like anymore." That honesty became her turning point. Melissa made a decision that shocked everyone. She walked away from Hollywood. No more premieres, no more makeup trailers, no more pretending to be okay. She left Los Angeles behind and moved to the Catskill Mountains in New York, where she found peace in simplicity, chopping wood, tending to her garden, and living quietly with her fourth husband, actor Timothy Busfield. Timothy wasn't like the men before him. He didn't fall for Melissa the star, he fell for Melissa, the woman. For the first time, she didn't have to perform. She could laugh without worrying about the camera. She could cry without hiding behind makeup. And she discovered something she hadn't felt in decades: peace. Living in the countryside changed her. She began to see beauty in imperfection, the way the seasons changed, the way life slowed down, the way love could exist without pressure or pretense. She often says that her life now is wonderfully ordinary, and that's exactly what makes it beautiful. In a quiet house surrounded by trees, Melissa Gilbert found what fame had stolen from her: herself. She no longer needed to be America's sweetheart. She was simply Melissa, a woman who had loved, lost, and learned how to begin again. But her journey didn't just end in peace. It became a lesson for millions of women who watched her grow up, a reminder that it's never too late to rewrite your own story. And as she started to embrace her natural self, wrinkles, gray hair, imperfections, and all, Melissa began speaking openly about aging, self-acceptance, and letting go of the pressure to stay young forever. She once said, "I'm not fighting time anymore. I'm finally living it." It wasn't just a statement. It was liberation. Today, Melissa Gilbert lives far away from the glitter and chaos that once ruled her life. The cameras that followed her for decades are gone, replaced by quiet mornings, open skies, and a sense of peace she never knew existed. She wakes up beside the man who truly understands her, walks barefoot through her garden, and smiles at the simple joy of growing her own food. There's no script, no director, no audience, just life, raw and unfiltered. The kind she'd been chasing for so long without even realizing it. And in that quiet, she found something far more powerful than fame: freedom. She often says that her days now are simple, but filled with meaning. She no longer measures her worth through roles, ratings, or reviews. Instead, she finds fulfillment in the small moments: the scent of rain after a storm, the laughter she shares with Timothy, and the quiet strength that comes from knowing she survived everything life threw at her. Melissa Gilbert has become the kind of woman she once dreamed of portraying. Strong, yet tender. Flawed, yet fearless. Imperfect, yet completely at peace with who she is. Sometimes, when fans visit her social media pages, they expect to see the glamorous star they grew up watching. Instead, they find a woman who proudly shows her wrinkles, her messy hair, her natural beauty. She talks about aging not as something to fear, but as a privilege denied to many. She reminds her followers that growing older isn't losing your glow. It's finding it in a new light. In one of her heartfelt posts, she wrote, "I used to chase the idea of being flawless. Now, I chase the feeling of being free." Those words became a rallying cry for countless women who spent years trying to fit into society's impossible standards. Melissa's story isn't just about fame or heartbreak. It's about redemption. It's about finding peace in simplicity and realizing that happiness isn't something you perform. It's something you allow yourself to feel. Every day she wakes up surrounded by nature. She's reminded that life moves on, gently, quietly, beautifully. The seasons change, the leaves fall, and everything begins again. And in that rhythm, she finds healing. Sometimes she still receives offers from Hollywood, interviews, appearances, even roles, but she turns most of them down, not out of bitterness, but because she's finally found something better. Peace. Doesn't need a stage. She says that her greatest achievement isn't her fame or the awards she won. It's the fact that she learned to love herself when the world stopped clapping. Melissa Gilbert's story is a living reminder that you can rebuild your life at any age, that it's never too late to step out of the spotlight and into your truth. She once described her new life perfectly. "I didn't retire from Hollywood. I just came home to myself. And perhaps that's what we all want. Not the applause, not the perfection, but that quiet moment when we can finally say, 'I'm exactly where I'm meant to be.'" Melissa often reflects on the years she spent trying to please everyone else. Hollywood told her who to be, how to look, even how to feel. And for a while, she listened. But now, she knows that the only approval that truly matters is her own. She once said, "I used to think I had to stay young forever, but now I see beauty in growing older. It means I survived." Those words echo the wisdom of a woman who has learned to love the very things she once tried to hide. The lines on her face, the gray in her hair, the scars that tell her story. Her transformation has inspired countless women who grew up watching her. To them, Melissa isn't just the girl from Little House on the Prairie anymore. She's a reminder that it's never too late to start over, to love again, to heal, and to live without apology. She uses her voice now not for fame, but for purpose, advocating for self-acceptance, honesty, and aging with grace. Through her interviews and books, she urges women to stop measuring their worth through mirrors and headlines. Because the real glow, she says, doesn't come from youth or perfection. It comes from peace. As she looks out at the mountains that cradle her home, Melissa Gilbert knows she's finally where she was meant to be. She's no longer chasing love, approval, or success. She's simply living, breathing, and embracing every imperfect, beautiful second of her life. Her journey is proof that even the brightest stars can burn out. But if they're brave enough, they can also rise again, softer yet stronger than before. And maybe that's why her story still touches hearts around the world. Because Melissa Gilbert's greatest role wasn't Laura Ingalls, the girl who conquered the prairie. It was the woman who conquered herself. Melissa Gilbert shows us that life isn't about staying perfect. It's about becoming real. That love isn't always found in the spotlight. Sometimes it's waiting quietly in the shadows, where peace finally begins. And as the sun sets over her quiet home in the mountains, the world's beloved prairie girl smiles. Not for the camera, not for the crowd, but for herself. Because at last, she's home.
Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into Hollywood's hidden history.